What up, guys? Today we have the Power Sword, and the reason being is because of Master of Offense right there. Whenever you switch your Power Sword stance, you get 25% extra damage. Now, the Power Sword has recently been buffed. Actually, the Power Sword has been through a few amount of buffs, and honestly, we are also using Power Rake quite a bit here. So, the Power Sword is in a pretty good spot, but I think I want to try out how strong, switching your stance can be. That little extra 25% melee damage can really help this weapon feel a lot stronger when it comes to actually swinging the weapon. However, we also do have some parry support here. I am a level 13 Bulwark, or at the time here, this is definitely the perks I was jumping into this operation with. I do have Purity of Purpose, of course. Rejuvenating effect, I always forget how to use it. I know how to use it, but I always forget that I have it. Emergency countermeasure is going to help just, continuously provide some extra area of effect damage around the bulwark here. And basically, my plan is to try my best to switch stances and, make sure to apply it correctly. Switching stances is definitely one of the Power Swords, it's one of the modes where you can go to light or heavy, and depending on the situation, you are going to get more damage out of it. So, see, right here, we're going to switch our stance. I have 25% extra damage there, but unfortunately, I do have to go for the parry. See, that's the thing with Absolute. There are so many enemies around you. Sometimes you really can't enjoy some melee swings. Somebody is going to swing an attack by your way, and you're going to have to parry it and go for the gun strike. Now, I do have the plasma pistol here, and it is a great gun strike weapon. I do really enjoy the Power Sword and plasma, parrying. It's definitely something I've paired together quite a bit. But yes, as soon as I switch the stance, you see the little melee icon in the top left, and it will help me get some extra damage. And I just really enjoy the way they have been buffing the Power Sword recently, especially since they buffed, the Power Rake, which really helps out the overall DPS for majors. The Power Sword's actually just a pretty good weapon right now. And I think it's potentially a really good weapon if I can just learn how to use it better. So I think, basically playing around this perk really helped me kind of understand when is the appropriate time to switch my stance and get some extra damage. As you saw in the beginning of this encounter, I did take advantage of that, and I landed a big power whirl. Now, something is happening that's a little bit weird for my team right now. One of my teammates left, and then I think we are kind of split between, there's an extremist attacking my teammates, I think, somewhere, and then I'm over here dealing with this mob. I thought I was going through the level at a pretty good pace. I mean, I was clearing out everything in front of me, so I didn't really see this happening. So unfortunately, I'm not too sure why my teammates left. Ultimately, I think they really could have just teamed back up with me and we would have been okay, but it is what it is. Maybe I was going a little bit too fast, but regardless, this Ravner cannot catch up to me anymore because it is gone. And luckily, I do get a teammate to join pretty quickly into the operation. I dropped this banner. Again, the banner does have Purity of Purpose, so this banner is a DPS banner. It scales very well into Absolute. And now that I am a Prestige 3 Bulwark here, I am very close to Prestige 4. A Prestige 3 Bulwark at level 13, I feel like is strong enough for Absolute. Dude, the Bulwark is seriously so powerful, and even going with the Power Sword here, we see some great DPS moments from this weapon, even without the parries and gun strikes. I just really enjoy this melee weapon. I enjoy swinging it. Definitely getting that, yes, getting the Power Whirl right there, and then boom, gun strike, and then shock effect on the ground. Really nice. Now, we do have a teammate who is using the Assault class here, so I actually do get a buff for my gun strikes as well, which is really, really nice. And then the Heavy. I think, honestly, our team right here is pretty cool. We have two melee classes and a Heavy. And I think, the Heavy just has a lot on its shoulders when it comes to range damage. However, me and the Assault here are using plasma pistols, so we also have some pretty good damage. There, I go for the stance swap. I get 25% extra damage. I think one way that would be nice with that perk, Master of Offense, I really think what would be nice is if when you go for the stance switch and you get the extra melee buff, I just think it'd be nice if they buffed the perk where you can continuously have the buff for a little bit longer. Like, at least have it last like 30 seconds or something. Maybe closer to 30 seconds. I feel like right now it just goes away. You basically have the buff for like one attack, which is like, I don't know, it's not that crazy, but I can definitely see an extra 25% extra damage just being very helpful. Now there, just drop the banner because I know right after this we have we have like downtime after this, so I'm going to get my banner back anyway. But honestly, being Prestige 3, you're getting your banner back faster anyway because of the Prestige perk, where if you block some damage, you can get your cooldown. Your cooldown basically refreshes faster, so you can get your banner more often. And then, obviously, Purity of Purpose, a very, honestly, dude, Purity of Purpose is so good, and you can get it so early. And that's honest, this perk has been carrying me in these, for these prestige grinds. At least it allowed me to punch up in difficulty, up into lethal and absolute, which allowed me to grind a bit faster. And I think overall, it really hasn't taken me more than like 4 or 5 operations to get a prestige level out of Bulwark, because I'm just able to directly go into absolute as soon as possible. Now, here's a situation where we have an extremist spawn. I did get sniped by that sniper there because I really wasn't paying attention, and honestly, there was a lot in my way, and I was trying to focus playing. I was really trying to focus to play this banner, and I didn't notice the sniper was, keying in on me right there. And luckily, the plasma pistol is a great ranged weapon, so I am able to get some good damage there. And you honestly saw the effectiveness of that banner. Purity of Purpose really won us this fight without much effort, as far as, I got sniped. I dropped the banner, I did like 1 plasma shot, and I got sniped, and we won the fight without much issue because the banner is healing my teammates' armor, obviously, and then it's also dealing area of effect damage to everyone in the vicinity. And then it's also, the damage on that is also scaling directly with the difficulty, which is really, really nice. And in this situation right here, it's just, I have to get these parries, but luckily I do get a little bit of a melee buff right here, and we're able to take out this enraged major without much issue. Now, we are going to end up jumping into the high current boss fight, and I think that boss fight is going to be a perfect moment to really test out the melee buffs I am getting from the Power Sword perks here. But ultimately, we still have a long way to go because, as you can see, we have zone throws here that I'm trying to block. I'm still pretty confident with the plasma pistol here and the capability of taking out zone throws. So the Bulwark is able to just deal with this, especially if you land a gun strike like that. That was a perfect dodge on a beam that I attempted to perfect dodge. It just, honestly, dude, I've been playing so much Expedition 33, I'm starting to like, I'm really trying to focus on like sound cues and, just basically cues on when they're going to do certain attacks. Like, for example, here we have a Biovore. I was playing very aggressive towards it, and once I saw him start like waving his claws, I knew I was able to get some parries, and that's exactly what happened. I played that Biovore so aggressively, dude. I was kind of in a good mood playing with the plasma and the power sword. I knew I could take on anything as long as I could parry them, and as soon as I saw the Biovore, I just wanted to take it out as soon as possible. That was my strategy for the Biovore there, was to entice it to melee me and to land the gun strikes. But okay, yes, now it's time for the Hive Tyrant. Ultimately, I'm going to open up this fight with plasma shots, but right here I do switch my stance, and I did have to switch back to it. So sometimes maybe, like if you jump into the Hive Tyrant and you want the extra 25% melee from the stance switch, jump in like heavy stance and then go to the light stance. Unfortunately, I do have to use that stim there, and I do pick up that stim because the heavy's full health and we have a Guardian Relic on the Assault class here. And as you can see, we are taking down this health very fast. You can also see the melee chipping away at the end there. That was definitely some nice damage, and we went so fast through phase 1 that I kind of forgot about the mobs, but luckily, the banner, Purity of Purpose, takes extra care of the mobs here. As long as I land a gun strike or a parry on a major and Purity of Purpose is in play, it's on my screen and it is working, we are fine. We are fine to basically take on anything in this boss fight. Whenever you see those waves, try to dodge forward a little bit because he can definitely follow up with more waves, and they will definitely be easier to dodge if you just just dodge past them, which is nice. But yeah, when you're fighting the Hive Tyrant, you really have to make sure you deal with the mobs correctly. The mobs can seriously kill your run in this fight. And yes, right here, Power Sword stance switch, trying to get some extra damage for that power rate. And yeah, the area of effect attack from the Hive Tyrant was able to knock me back. This is a rough situation here. One of my teammates go down. I don't have banner. So now I'm basically just trying my best to get my armor back, and I saw an armor boost right there. I do pick that up, and I was able to slam a gaunt on the ground, and my teammate gets back up because of the Guardian Relic. And the Hive Tyrant really is throwing a lot of attacks our way, so I just jumped in and finished off the Hive Tyrant there. That was a nice run. We had a pretty good team there. We started off a little bit weird because my teammates left, but ultimately the Power Sword and the Plasma Pistol are able to get the job done. I do have a fair amount of damage here on the Bulwark, over 10,000, which is really nice. I did not go down. We took out a fair amount of specials. That was nice. Also a lot of experience. I think Master of Offense is worth it, but I do hope it gets buffed.